So last Sunday was Transfiguration, which is one of my favorite days in the church year, in part I think because in it you have this guy who's so ordinary, who's just like walking around in the desert, sort of probably dusty and dirty and smelly, who suddenly for a moment his friends can see dazzling white glowing, and they see this moment when the holy shines through this ordinary man, their friend, Jesus.
That was Pastor Becca Seeley talking to us after a gathering of college students downtown. She's the executive director of Lutheran Ministries in Higher Education in New York City, and also a member of Advent. So, today's video topic is going to be how, in the practical sense of how do we get started with this carbon fast on Monday, and also how can we make these changes in our home and lifestyle and connect with nature and connect with God when life is not going to slow down. Becca was talking about the story of the Transfiguration of Jesus.
And they see this moment when the holy shines through this ordinary man, their friend, Jesus.
Her feelings about that story, they speak to that question I just said.
And for me that means that there's something underneath the surface of the everyday. There's something in our ordinary lives that is transcendent and beautiful and divine. But I love the way that those two things are held together, because that's part of what it is to be human, right? To both be assured that you will die, as we all do, but also to be so full of life. To be both broken and to also have the cracks in your life be the places where the dazzling light of God shines through. So as we're entering into this Lenten carbon fast, I think a lot about how this world is so broken, right? And it feels in a lot of ways like it's all turning to dust, like we've sort of gone beyond the environmental pale. And then at the same time, we're not helpless, we're not lost. But there is this light in us that we can't see all the time, but this light of God's love that's reflected in us that comes through and in these moments can make a huge impact on the world and can create hope for the future, even in the midst of what feels like dying and death. So that is why I love thinking about Transfiguration and Ash Wednesday together, and I'm going to hold those together as I walk through this carbon fast.
Okay, practical stuff. So we're going to be reducing our use of a different natural resource or thing each week. Week 1, starting this Monday, is going to be water. I thought this was a carbon fast. What does water have to do with reducing my carbon footprint? Essentially, a lot of energy is used to get tap water into your home and process it afterward. So by reducing the amount of water you use, you reduce the amount of energy used, and a lot of that energy comes from fossil fuels. So how do we reduce the amount of water that we use at home? Well, I'm not the expert in this at all, admit it. I have super handwritten on my blackboard. Done a little research and I've thought of a couple ways that I'm going to start reducing my use of water starting on Monday. This is going to be the biggest one for me. I take the longest showers. Whenever I wash the dishes, I tend to leave the water running the whole time. So I want to buy a separate wash bin to fill up with soapy water, use to do my dishes, rinse in the sink, and use a bit less water. So you do have a carbon fast homework assignment over the weekend, and that is to plan how you are going to save water next week starting on Monday. You can use the 2 ideas I shared, or also just do a quick Google search. I saw tons of lists and great articles of different ideas that will work in different homes and different situations. So check some things out over the weekend. Get the things that you need to be ready on Monday. Also, go into our Facebook group or onto our Facebook page and share your ideas for how you're going to save water. There's like 80 people doing this carbon fast, and you all are incredible resources of information and ideas for each other. And we're hoping that our page and Facebook group can be a way for you to support one another. Please take advantage of that, and let's support each other as a community and do this together. Okay, so for Monday,
We're not helpless, we're not lost. But there is this light in us that we can't see all the time, but this light of God's love that's reflected in us that comes through, and in these moments make a huge impact on the world and can create hope for the future, even in the midst of what feels like dying and death. So that is why I love thinking about Transfiguration and Ash Wednesday together, and I'm going to hold those together as I walk through this carving fast.